When the United States became involved in the Second Indochina War, or in Vietnam, it was a low-grade guerrilla warfare and insurgency. We sent observers and advisors there beginning in the 1950s, and even larger numbers of them in the early 1960s. They were there to help the Army of the Republic of Vietnam, the military of South Vietnam, with the United States assistance in material, weapons, helicopters, and other devices. It was hoped that they would be able to hold their own.
This is Pleiku, 250 miles north of Saigon, the air base that was ripped by Vietnamese communist guerrillas. 8 Americans died in the attack that brought swift retaliation by U.S. and South Vietnamese forces. From carriers and land bases, 49 jets struck back at staging areas just across the border in North Vietnam.
Don't forget the old adage of the domino theory in effect, particularly in Southeast Asia, where if one country fell to communism, the rest would fall like a row of dominoes. And I think the American people as a whole were indoctrinated into that belief that communism was evil, and it was. And if we went and helped the Vietnamese help themselves, we would be doing a good thing, not only for Vietnam, but for the world, because the threat of monolithic communism, i.e. coming out of Moscow and also Beijing, was very, very, very real.
South Vietnamese forces intercepted a heavily camouflaged patrol gunboat and sank it in shallow waters northeast of Saigon. Here was proof to back up U.S. claims of smuggled Chinese arms, 80 tons of weapons destined for Viet Cong forces.
By 1965, the communists were winning. And so the United States began to send large numbers of ground troops. And while these troops were very well trained, they had excellent equipment, and they were there in large numbers, they were not really prepared to fight the type of war that was being fought in Vietnam, a guerrilla war.
The frustrating war in Vietnam is not only a battle against the Viet Cong, but also against another formidable enemy, the jungle. This is a South Vietnamese attack against red guerrillas 40 miles southeast of Saigon. First, there's a briefing for newsmen as they witness firsthand the technique of flushing out the hidden Viet Cong. The rebels usually make swift attacks at night and then fade into the jungle and fields with the dawn. They dig in and wait for darkness once more. It's a ticklish operation to check the foxholes, not knowing from one minute to the next when a shot might ring out.
The North Vietnamese, of course, you got to understand, was a more conventional army rather than the Viet Cong, which were the South Vietnamese communists that were operating in South Vietnam, south of the 17th parallel. The North Vietnamese would, on occasion, engage the American forces one-on-one, such as in the Ai Drang Valley of November of 1965, where you had large battalions and regiments fighting American battalions and regiments.
They told me don't go walking slow.
But what the North Vietnamese were able to do was send down advisors to the Viet Cong guerrillas operating in the south and utilizing them with their expertise, etc.
You better run through the jungle.
So we understood that we had a different enemy, and we began to study and train how to fight the Viet Cong, how to fight guerrillas. A large number of our forces weren't being wounded or killed in major battles, but in small ambushes and fights with snipers, and particularly from mines and booby traps. And so this changed some of the training that the troops were receiving on the ground.